Hello everyone, welcome to PHTV4. I'm Sue Jankowski, and today we are here with Medicare with Diane. Now, you've met Diane many times before. She's really been around at the library, and she's been on Channel 4 numerous times. Diana Ducey, welcome to the program again today.
Well, thank you for having me, Sue. I always appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you coming because, you know, this time of year, as people involved in Medicare and people who are on the cusp of being involved in Medicare, this time of year is kind of a time of year where things can change a little bit. And we want to be aware and get going and find out what we need to know if we need to make a change in some of our coverage. And Diane is here to talk about that, particularly Medicare Part D, which hopefully everyone knows that is the drug program. And that was reading through the notes again. I think sometimes people new to the Medicare way of life might think that the drugs are covered when you sign up for Medicare. Of course, you know, you might need a prescription, but they're not.
Right. So, that's like, where does Medicare Part D fit into with all the parts of Medicare, right? Mm-hmm. So Medicare Part A, most people are familiar with that. That helps us with our inpatient hospital stays. Medicare Part B, as in boy, helps with medical services and physicians and testing and even the surgery we receive in the hospital. But Medicare Part D, as in drug, that's been around since 2006. And that's the part of Medicare that helps us with our outpatient prescription drugs. So
and that's pretty important because,
yes,
many people need outpatient drugs and they need a drug plan.
Right.
And that kind of periodically changes a little bit.
Yes, exactly. So first of all, it's good to know for people who are new to Medicare that you actually have to choose a Medicare Part D plan, because even though Medicare developed the prescription drug plan, it's available through private insurance companies that have been authorized by Medicare to provide the drug plan. So you think, well, where do you go for this information, right?
Exactly.
Well, one easy one is if you're already on Medicare. Most of us who are on Medicare have received this book already, and hopefully it's not collecting dust somewhere in your house, but it is a very helpful book because I think it's on pages 127 and 127A in the back of the book, where all of the Medicare Part D plans in Illinois are listed, and that's for 2026. So that's one quick way to say, well, where are these drug plans? Well, they're in the back of the book. And this year there are less than there have been for many years. When I say this year, I'm meaning the new year coming up, because there are only 12 different Medicare Part D plans. But I like using the book because it's handy, but I also like to use the computer, and I have a computer at home, but there are computers at libraries and so forth that people can use. And a very valuable website is called Medicare.gov, not Medicare.com, please don't go there, but Medicare.gov as in victory. And if you visit Medicare.gov, hopefully you can create an account if you have a Medicare number, but even if you don't want to do that, you can just say you want to look at drug plans, and you can put in your zip code, because that will, and you're all prompted, and you can put in your zip code because you want to narrow down your choices just to the ones that are available in Illinois, and then you can say, oh, I want to see drug plans without cost, without putting my drugs in, because maybe you're just curious, and then you can see the 12 drug plans. And what's interesting for 2026 is, and this is why it's so important for everybody to look at their drug plan every year, because unlike Medicare supplements, where the Medicare supplement benefits don't change, they stay the same all the time, but the rates change. But the Medicare supplement plan benefits, like the G's and F's and N's of the world, those benefits always stay the same. We don't have to worry about those, right? We don't worry about them. But during this annual enrollment period, which begins tomorrow, right, October 15th through December 7th, that's when we can review our drug plans and make changes. And why do we do that? Because the drug plans change every year. Even though my needs might not have changed, the drug plan did.
So what you were getting on that drug plan may be eliminated or changed in some way, and you wouldn't be able to get that particular prescription on that particular drug plan.
For that particular price, right. So if I'm on a drug plan right now and I have different prescriptions, it is imperative that I check and make sure that that drug plan will pay for those drugs the way that I will be satisfied with. Okay, because maybe their premium stayed the same, but maybe their formulary, their list of covered drugs changed, and maybe that particular drug is not covered, or maybe it's going to be more expensive for me in the future. Or maybe, Sue, it'll be the same or less, but there's only one way to find out, and hoping isn't going to change anything. It's just a matter of, number one, you could call your insurance company. We were just talking about that a few moments ago before we started the show. You could call your insurance company and say, well, this is what I have. Can you tell me how it's covered? Because I know that everybody by now has received something called an annual notice of change. And the annual notice of change is sent out by all the Medicare Part D plans every September so that you can say, oh, here are the changes for my plan for next year. However, some of these booklets are like 16 pages long. And some people just, they just don't want to look at it. I'm not faulting anybody,
No,
it just is. So they may say, oh, what, my plan is still $0 for next year because this year there definitely was a drug plan, same as last year, that had a $0 premium. So next year there are 4 plans that have $0 premium. I can't say free or anything like that. I have to say $0 premium.
Okay.
So it would be always in your best interest to say, well, it's only going to take a moment. I'm going to call my drug plan and check and see if my particular drugs, how they are covered and what I will pay for them. And also, are the pharmacies still the same for me? Because they could change that too. So you could do that. You could go to Medicare.gov and you could look up your drugs on this fabulous tool called, it's the Drug Plan Software Finder. It's nice. All you have to do is say you want to look at drug plans and then it'll take you there. All right.
But it seems easy enough to do.
It does,
Yeah.
because I do want to mention that in the past, including this past 2025 year, there were plans for $0 premium, plans for $16, plans for $30, but in these 12 plans for next year, there are 4 plans at $0, and then it jumps up to $40.20. And then it goes to $66 and $89, $94, all the way up to $119. So no one wants to find themselves thinking, oh, I didn't look, I like that plan, it's the same, and it's not the same. Because if they don't make their plan change by December 7th, it'll be too late. And they will be in that particular drug plan for all of 2026. So it's important now to look at your drug plan, and if you need help, there's help out there. You can even call Medicare, 1-800-MEDICARE, and they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can help you too. So, and actually, if I was going to call Medicare, I'd probably call on a Friday at 4 o'clock. Because everybody else is like, I'm done with the week, and so why not call then, or maybe on a Saturday morning, something like that. So I guess when we talked about me coming here today, my true goal is just that I really want people to know how their drugs are going to be covered for next year, and maybe they could even set a goal for themselves to get that done by Halloween. We still have, 17 days till Halloween, and so they have until December 7th, but why not get it done now?
Right.
Because
don't procrastinate.
Don't procrastinate.
It doesn't get any better if you wait
right.
longer. In fact, it's kind of stressful, really.
It is. And so, it's really nice when people will tell me, oh, I did it, and guess what? I'm going to save money next year. Because they are happy and it's done. They don't have to think about it any longer. So they can look at these plans starting October 1st. So people have been looking. They've been listed on the Medicare.gov site since October 1st. Some people have found they don't have to make a change because their plan will work for them next year. Maybe the premium stayed the same and their drug costs are still going to be satisfactory for them. So they don't have to make a change. They don't have to do anything at all. But other people, can I tell a story?
Please do.
Okay, so 4 people, all intelligent people. They all happen to be, 2 married couples. They were on a drug plan a couple years ago. It was $9.90 a month. Fine. And the drug plan changed, but they didn't pay attention. Okay, and the drug plan went to like $43 or $44 a month. So they're like, oh. I had someone call me in September, and she said, oh, I've been paying, $44 for me, $44 for my husband every month. And I said, well, you can change this fall, right? I said, so please do October 15th through December 7th for January 1st. And that $44 plan is going up to over $90.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to make sure I call her and just say, hey, just to remind you, did you change?
Yeah, right.
Because sometimes these things can slip through our fingers. And, actually those people are clients of mine, and I do remind people every year and with lengthy emails that they should review their drug plans. But I know it's not fun.
It isn't, but the difference between 0 and 40 and then 80, double for the couple,
yes,
to 180, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And I had another gentleman the other day, and they're sort of embarrassed to tell me they didn't ever read my emails, which is okay. But at any rate, same situation, $9.90, then $40. And then he said, I didn't even know that we were paying that much for our drug plan, because I guess some people just get it taken out of their checking account and don't pay attention. Maybe that's what it is. And so I said, well, it's going up to such and such. He goes, well, we better pay attention. Because to be honest with you, whether it's $40 a month that you don't need to pay or $80, it's a lot of money. And if someone said to me, well, Diane, if you could just spend 30 minutes to an hour and you could save $500 a year, would I do it? Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
When you're going to the store with a $1 coupon, yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then I've had some people tell me this year too, when with their drug plans, with their, maybe their drug plan that they're in, it's going up. So they found another plan that they're like, oh my goodness, this plan covers my drugs in a very cost-effective way. So it's not that you have to be afraid. You should be looking forward to it, because this might be a way to save some money, right?
It is, but all of us have, not all of us, I'm speaking for myself and many people, you kind of look at, it just seems like so much, and there's so many drugs, and there's so many, and you don't know will I need a drug or not, because
right.
You don't know what the future holds for you, and it seems complicated, but if you actually just do it, the sites are not difficult to get through.
No.
So it's very doable. You just got to make yourself sit down and do it. There's worse things to, like cleaning your oven. That's bad. Right. This isn't that bad.
Right. Well, and a day like today, it's sort of dreary outside.
Yeah.
It's not like a beautiful day. But it's still a good day. But you might want to go to Medicare.gov, say, oh, I don't have an account, or if you do, which you should, because you can go into Medicare.gov and you can see claims that have been paid for you. If you're not collecting Social Security yet and you're paying your Part B premium, you can pay your Part B premium online. There's a lot of benefits to Medicare.gov. But the biggest benefit, at least as far as I'm concerned, is the drug plan software program. It is excellent. So it'll show you how your drugs will be covered for next year, and it'll sort it. Most cost effective to least cost effective. You don't have to do anything except put in your drug, put in a few pharmacies like, Walgreens, Osco, CVS, or you might want to try a different one. That's fine too. But it's not committing you to anything. No one else is going to see this information. You just need to look at it as like, you're getting ready to, it's like homework. It's homework.
It's
all right,
homework, yes.
I'd rather do the Medicare.gov site than prepare for taxes.
Oh boy, you got that right.
Taxes. That's like
Yeah.
so much work.
It
But
is.
this is really just, if you're taking a prescription or 3 or 4, take them out. You type it. You start to type it in. It's populated. It'll show you. Oh, here's lisinopril. Is it lisinopril plain or lisinopril hydrochlorothiazide? You click that. It'll show you the dosages. You click your dosage. You click your strength, and then it builds. And if you have signed into your account, you can build this on your own. But if you have been on a drug plan for a while and you had prescriptions already filled, then actually there is already a list of your drugs in your account, even though maybe you didn't create the account, that's associated with, say, Diane Ducey, right, and 60463. There are the drugs that I had filled during the past, say, 12 months.
Oh.
So I might not even have to create this list, Sue.
Oh, wow.
I could just check, oh, yes, I'm taking that one. Yes, I'm taking that one. There's my drug list.
Oh, perfect. So
Yes.
easy. That
Yes.
was really easy.
It is.
Okay.
And so there's my name. There's the pharmacies that I would like to use, but I do not have to use. It's just a thought. And there's my prescriptions. And then it says, well, what do you want to do? Well, I'm looking at Medicare Part D plans. Some of it seems to a little redundant, I know, but, you know.
Yep.
So
I
I'm
want to
looking
make sure they're sending you to the right place.
Right. So then I want to look at Medicare Part D, and they're all of a sudden, like, so if this was me, I would see my drug plan that I'm on now. It'll show me that plan first for next year. And then below that will be listed the 12 plans for 2026, and it'll be listed in order from most cost effective, meaning they're taking into account the premium. Do I pay a deductible? Do I have out-of-pocket costs for my prescriptions? All of that are taken into account, and it'll show most cost-effective to least cost-effective.
Wow, so it's all really kind of done for you. All you
Yes.
have to do is evaluate what you want.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it could be that the plan that I'm in now is still going to be the most cost-effective. And like we talked about, then I don't have to do anything at all. But I might find out that, oh, this other one, maybe the premium costs more than what I'm used to paying, but it'll pay for my drugs in a more cost-effective way.
Oh.
So, you know, with the Medicare Part D plans, you know, people saying most cost-effective way. What does that mean? Well, every plan has a formulary, a list of covered drugs, where they really have to cover at least 2 drugs in each medical condition category, but they do not have to cover all drugs. They do not have to do that. But I can be assured that if I have a medical condition, that they will be covering a drug that will help treat that condition, for sure. If it's not the particular drug my doctor recommended, then I could talk with my doctor about maybe asking for an exception, right? Because maybe there's a medical need for me to have that particular drug, and I would take that up with my Medicare Part D plan.
Oh.
So there is the exception process. But getting back to what I was saying, so every plan has a formulary, a list of covered drugs, and then they all have tiers. So most plans have 5 tiers. There's a couple with 6 this coming year, but 5 tiers. And the lower tiers, like tiers 1 and tiers 2, they would be for low-cost prescriptions, commonly prescribed. They don't cost a lot, and they're almost always generics on the tiers 1 and tiers 2. And then you get into tier 3, where tier 3, you're going to pay a little bit more for your drug, and sometimes it will be a co-payment, which I like because then it's a fixed cost, right? I know, oh, I'm going to pay $47 for that drug every time I pick it up. Maybe it's a $500 drug, Sue,
Right.
so $47
That's
to me would be good. Would. And so, or it could be a co-insurance where I have to pay 20%. So these are things to know because these can change every year. So tiers 1 and 2, typically generics. Tiers 3, usually brand names, but there could be some generics hanging out in there. And then tiers 4 and 5, those would be less common drugs, and tier 5 are usually specialty drugs. So every plan can have different, you know, the plan that you're on could have my drug on a tier 2, but I could have it on a tier 1 on my plan. So it's always good to know.
You really do have to kind of evaluate that then. Just give it a thought, look, and make sure that you're in the right tier and you're in the right drug part.
Or that you're glad with the tier that it's in,
Yeah.
right? So when you look at Medicare.gov, this drug plan software, I look at it as like a warehouse, right? Sometimes I use Amazon as an example, but if you think of Amazon with a warehouse, it has all these things there. So Medicare.gov has a warehouse of all of these drug plans. You're not going to a specific person that sells XYZ insurance and they're just going to look at XYZ insurance. You want to have you would just want the best plan for you. And actually, you know, when we're talking and I'm looking at you and I'm looking at Ron, for married couples, you don't have to have the same drug plan. You know, there's no benefit to having the same drug plan for both of you.
No discount.
No discount, right, thank you. So it's just you base it on the prescriptions that you're taking.
Okay.
And sometimes a person has to go to a more expensive drug plan, but their drugs could be covered in such a manner that it'll save them money in the long run. Because this year, the most anybody had to pay for their covered prescriptions out of pocket was $2,000. So $2,000 is a lot of money. I'm not thinking that it's not. But in the past, when people were on a Medicare Part D plan, they could have been spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 out of their pocket for covered drugs. And the Inflation Reduction Act of 2023 made it happen so that in 2000, the calendar year out of pocket is $2,000 for covered drugs. That does not include your premium. And of course, the drug has to be covered. So if I was taking, and I do have people doing this, where like, you know, $4,000 in drugs, once I reach my $2,000 in 2025 in out-of-pocket costs for covered drugs, the rest of the cost for that year for my covered drugs is zero.
Oh.
And for some people, I have that happen in January.
Oh, wow.
Because their drug is so expensive.
Wow, that's
However, for 2026, that $2,000 has been increased to $2,100. So still, and it's still very good news for some people who are taking very expensive drugs.
It really would be, and that has been reduced quite a bit since it was $4,000 or $5,000 before.
Oh,
That's
right.
amazing.
Right.
You know, I want to just bring this up, and I think it's appropriate, but I'm wondering about the Medicare Advantage program, because you do have a drug plan already, you know, like embedded in that program, right?
Right.
So you wouldn't really be looking at changing anything because it's already taken care of in that Advantage program?
Oh, that's a very good question. See, the Medicare Advantage plans that have drug coverage built in, which are most of them, that is Medicare Part D. That's built into a Medicare Advantage plan. So if a person has a Medicare Advantage plan, they need to examine this as well.
Oh, they do?
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. So with a Medicare, in the Medicare Advantage market, there's a lot of changes going on too. So people really need to look at the Medicare Advantage plans and the prescription drug coverage within the Medicare Advantage plan. So on this Medicare.gov website, when I'm asking it, oh, I want to look at Part D plans, if I'm on a Medicare Advantage plan, I could say, I want to look at Medicare Advantage plans with prescription drug coverage. And then it'll show me those plans and how my drugs will be covered there.
Okay, and that would be different than the other drug plans.
Right. So Medicare Part D, I can purchase it as a standalone plan, and then I'd have Medicare A and B, and maybe I'd have a Medicare supplement, and then I would have a Part D plan. Or if I'm going to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, then I enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. I don't buy a Medicare supplement, and that a Medicare Advantage plan almost always includes Medicare Part D, the prescription drug component, and it follows the same rules and guidelines as regular Medicare Part D. It's just bundled into my Medicare Advantage
So
plan.
you would need to look at that and make sure you have selected that proper plan as well.
Absolutely.
So basically everybody should be looking at this and making sure that it's what you want.
Right. Everybody except, of course, those people that have coverage through their former employer, like a lot of people, like maybe with Commonwealth Edison or some unions, they have coverage from their former employer as a Medicare person, and that they have their own package from their company. So then it would not be in their best interest to go to the Medicare.gov website, because it's more like individuals like us, where I make an individual choice, whether it be Medicare supplement and a drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan.
Okay. So there's a little bit of homework for everybody to do. Most people, some people know. Like you mentioned, Commonwealth Edison, big places, unions, things like that have their own insurance. But everybody else needs to take a look at this and make sure you're getting the best value and the best ability to get the prescription that you need and your drug is covered.
Right. And remember, if if it's possible for you to save even $100 over the course of the year next year, that's still worth a half hour or an hour of your time.
It is. Well, and peace of mind too. You don't want to be surprised that you've been going to the pharmacy, getting a particular prescription. Maybe you had a small payment to make at that time, but it could, and very likely may change. So you need to go for your own self and make sure you're happy with what's available.
With what's available. And for those people that have to pay, like, say maybe $1,000 the first time they go because maybe they have to meet their deductible, the deductible is going to be, the highest deductible is $615 next year. And if they have to pay a lot at the pharmacy, like the first couple months, they have a Medicare payment program now that they can talk about with their drug plan that they choose, where they can spread out those high payments over 12 months. So if I had to say, I'll just make it easy for myself. Let's just say my pharmacy bill in January is $1,200. In my mind, though, I remember that my maximum out of pocket for covered drugs for the year is $2,000, right? But if that first month it's $1,200, and what if the next month it's $800? I can have that $2,000 spread. Well, next year it'll be $2,100, excuse me. But I can have that cost spread out over 12 months. But I would work that out with my Medicare prescription drug plan.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Well, that's good too, because then you didn't have to come up with
Yeah, they're
that.
trying to make it as easy as possible. And then always remember that for people who are on fixed incomes or have financial challenges, there is that federal program called Extra Help, where a person can get extra help from the federal government, and that would be in the form of lower costs for their drug plan, lower costs for their drugs, and we don't even have to mention the donut hole that we used to talk about years ago, because that's gone.
I was thinking about that. We always had to talk about the donut hole because it was so important, and now
it's gone.
No worries about the donut hole anymore.
It took a long time. That was part of the Affordable Care Act, but it took, I think, almost like 14 years for it to go away, but it's gone.
Finally. No more donuts. Well, Diane, thank you so much for bringing this all up. Do we talk about all the things that you wanted to with our viewers today?
I think so. Like I mentioned, next year the maximum out of pocket that you'd have for your covered prescription drugs, not including your premium, would be $2,100. And the maximum deductible is $615. And of course, whatever you pay towards your deductible also goes toward that $2,100. And that, like, things like COVID shots are covered under Medicare Part, oh, now I forgot, so sorry, I think it's Medicare Part B. Yeah, I think that's where COVID shots are covered. But things like shingle shots are covered under D, as in drug. Why they divide them up, I don't know, but, it's just good to know.
Okay, that is good to know.
All right.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's always so great to have Diane here and kind of help us through this mire of things that we should know and do. And she does make it very reasonable for us to go on the computer or our phone, or, sometimes people need a little help from their family members that can help navigate that too. If you have somebody in your family that needs a little extra help making sure that they pick the right thing, you can go out and get them some help. But in the meantime, go to Medicare.gov. That's a great place to go. There's a lot of tools for you to make this easy as can be. Thank you again, Diane.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And thanks for watching us here on Channel 4. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Okay.